比较那个仔细可以靠边，这样不要拿之前的，然后再看现在。不要让他，那我不知道他们是他们的，那最后没有啊，然后后来没有在这里刷船。不用吃东西那种程度。
Okay. All right, let's get started. Okay, let's move on to this page, composting. Okay, composting means you make some organic waste become a fertilizer,堆肥. Okay, for example, like food. Okay, so composting means you make some organic solid, organic waste become fertilizer. Okay, so the definition is here. Composting is the control aerobic. Aerobic means require oxygen. Partial degradations. Okay, this is the definitions. This is the definition of composting. Composting means control aerobic partial degradation of organic waste. Okay, aerobic. 什么叫 aerobic？ 什么叫 aerobic？ 你要是考50分以下，我还是会把你当掉。你不要以为来上这个课就一定会过，不要有这个迷思。Anyone? I think I mentioned this. What is aerobic? What is aerobic? 不要说查一下，你没有查之前会吗？你也一样。不要以为这堂课来修一定过。Okay, aerobic means require oxygen. it means require oxygen. And the opposite of this word is anaerobic. Anaerobic means doesn't need oxygen. Okay? So the definition of composting means we try to control aerobic partial degradation of organic waste. Okay? In other words, that means it's a managed biological process that uses oxygen to break down. So degradation means breakdown. Break down organic waste into more stable materials. So what can we use? What can we use? We can use those microbiomes, for example, like fungi, bacteria, protozoa. We can call them as decomposers. Okay, we can use those decomposers to break down organic waste. Okay, and some residual will leave, and those residuals can be used to be burned. By using this, we can reduce the volume 40 to 75%. Okay, 40 to 75%, and those waste will be converted into carbon dioxide, water vapor, and some stabilized compost, and some compost. All right? Okay. Okay, next, the element. Okay, this slide is bring the main components. Okay, the component needed for composting system. For composting system. Okay, first is collection. So we try to collect those waste. Collection, pre-processing, and some composting parameters. For example, like we mentioned about oxygen, right? So it's aerobic. Okay, correction including like curbside drop-off. Also, it requires public education. The teacher need to teach the students why we want to do this. Okay, the pre-processing including like grinding, separating, grinding experiments. Okay. So you might know this picture. The weather means you add some moisture. Okay, you adding some moisture. Okay, screening means sorting. So oxygen. Okay, because we mentioned this is this is aerobic, right? Nitrogens, okay, nitrogens. Okay, this dimension the CN ratios, okay, the carbon nitrogen ratios. Okay, this is very important. Okay, why this is important? Because this is what microorganism needs. This is what microorganism need. Okay, then the temperature. Temperature is related to heat release. Okay, because think about this, the microorganisms break down organic waste, right? They're gonna produce heat. They're gonna produce heat. Okay, moisture at least 50%. Okay, moisture is necessary because microorganisms need water to live and function, right? So if the material is too dry, oxygen is very difficult to transfer. Okay, the reason we need to add some water because if the material too dry, it's going to be difficult to transfer oxygen. Okay? So that's the reason the moisture is important. Okay, moisture is important. If your material too dry, you need to add some water. The so-called wet material. Okay, may I move on? Okay, next slide I want to show this the physical property of solid waste. Okay? So the first is the definition of moisture. The moisture content equals the mass of moisture over the total mass of waste. Okay, so this tells us what fractions. This tells us what fraction of the total waste is water. Okay, and as I just mentioned in the previous slide, right? The moisture is important for composting. Okay, moisture is important. Sorry. Moisture is important for composting. Moisture is important for composting. What does dry? Oh, okay, here, right? I mentioned it. Important. Keep that in mind. Moisture is very important for composting.堆肥. Dry mass. Okay, dry mass means the mass of waste after removing the water. The dry mass means the mass of waste after removing the water. Okay, density of course, everyone knows about this. This is mass over volume, right? The density equals the mass over volume. This is very important for calculating space requirement. We have one? Okay? Okay, so this slide shows you the different levels of composting system. Okay, and the use of compost. Okay, the first one is so-called multi-level composting. Okay, multi-level composting. So the minimal level, okay, minimal level is 12 times 24 feet. Okay, probably we should put a square here. 12 times 24 feet square. Okay. And we need to turn this annually. The annually means every year. Because the center become anaerobic. Anaerobic means no oxygen. And the 3 year it means the composting takes about 3 years. Okay, the low level is 6 times 12 feet square. Okay, and so we mix monthly or quarterly. Okay, quarter means every 4 months. Quarter means every 4 months. Yeah, every 4 months. Quarter. And then 3 months, every 3 months. We have 1 year is 4 quarter. Every 3 months, I'm sorry. Every 3 months. Every season, you can consider every season, okay? 1 year got 4 quarter, right? 1 year got 4 quarter. And we have 12 months, right? So every 3 months. Every 3 months means quarter. Water, what does it mean? That means water is added. You need to add water. Water is added. And this composting takes like 1.5 years. 1.5 years. And intermediate label sent as this is a similar system, okay? But you need to turn weekly. And it requires special equipment. And the composting takes about 5 weeks. Okay, so because it turns weekly, right? More frequent. So the decomposition in this intermediate label is faster. And high label is 10 times 200 feet squared. And we're gonna force the air in. Okay, and when you add water, and add nitrogen. So the composting in this high level take like 2 to 10 weeks. Then compost left. Then waste. The compost then left to stabilize. Left to stabilize for 3 to 12 months. Okay, I add some words and you might easy to understand this. The compost is then left to stabilize for 3 to 12 months. Okay, and this is the high level is the advanced one. This is the advanced control method. Okay, for composting. Guys, now you know composting, right? In Chinese, 堆肥. Okay, that means you use some microorganisms to break down organic matters. Okay, so there are some multiple level: minimal level, low level, intermediate level, and the high level. The high level is the most advanced one. Okay, let me finalize this. Let me summarize these 2 slides. Let me summarize these 2 slides. Okay, these 2 slides talk about the composting. Especially this slide. This slide shows you the different levels of composting, including the minimal level composting. Okay, the minimal level composting is the simple one, right? Simple but slow. The simple but slow one, because this might take three years. Okay, and move up to the lower level composting. This one is somewhat better, but still takes about 0.5 years, a half years. Okay, intermediate level will be similar to this size. However, it turns weekly, more frequently, so the decomposition will be faster. The most advanced one is called high level. Okay, and also the size is quite large. It's 10 times 200 feet square. Okay, use the forced air. Use the forced air because the air contains 80% of nitrogen, 20% of oxygen, right? And water and nitrogen will be added. Okay, water and nitrogen will be added. So this is the fattest. This is the fattest. Okay, this is the. I will say it's the fattest because the intermediate probably faster. Okay, but this one is more advanced. This one is more advanced. Okay, and the final compost, the final compost can be used for landscaping, gardening, even farming. Okay, and farming. Okay, next time I would like to show you the cost of storage and collection, treatment, disposal of MSW in Taiwan. Okay, previously, okay, mainly in this course we see the law the treatment and the measures in United States, right? But I want to compare this, okay, in Taiwan. Okay. So this slide shows you the economic burdens, okay, economic burden of MSW regimen in Taiwan. Okay, so the annual cost to Taiwan of all the MSW reaction disposal, it takes about NT stand for New Taiwan dollar. It takes about 20 billion every year. Okay, so if this compared to Indonesian dong, right? Indonesian dong, right? What's the Indonesian money? Indonesian dong, right? So if I convert this to Indonesian, probably times 500, right? Is that true? Around 500. Times 500. Okay. So in Taiwan, we spend 400 or 500? 500, around 500, right? Yeah, around 500. Around 500, is that true? Around 500, right? Okay, so it takes about NT 20 billion. Okay, 20 billion. So that means every household, okay, every household every year spend like 4,000 NT dollars. Okay, 4,000 NT dollars. And also 80 to 85% of total cost. Okay, actually 80 to 85% of total cost used for collection and transport. Okay, about 50, so this is a rough idea, okay, about 50 to 20% we use for treatment and disposal. Okay, this means the non-toxic one. Student, keep that in mind. This means non-toxic one. For the others, for the toxic substance, we probably need to spend more money for treatment and disposal. Understand? Okay, that's the next chapter. Okay, we're gonna talk about how to handle those others. Okay, now we are talking about the household waste. Okay. However, the problem is Taiwan is not a very big country, right? So we have a shortage of where located disposal sites, and of course, no one want your neighborhood is a landfill, right? So this is the problem in Taiwan. Okay, this is a problem in Taiwan. The shortage of well-located disposal site and the high cost of land. Okay, and the high cost of labor. Okay, nowadays will raise the cost significantly in the future. Okay? Okay, so next time I would like to talk about the collection methods. Okay, not just in Taiwan, okay, in all other countries, all the collection. I want to summarize all the collection methods. Okay, the first one is the curbside service. Okay, the curbside service. I think this is very common. Okay, this is very common. So you have a collection crew to pick up waste in this container. Okay, in this container. And you place this on the curb. On the curb. So advantage is this is simpler. This is simple and cheaper. Simpler and cheaper. Then you don't need to wait there, right? You don't need to wait there. If you have dump garbage, you just dump in the container. Okay. And because you put on the curb is a public domain. You know, public domain, right? So the crew will not enter your private. Not enter your private properties. Okay, this is an advantage. How about disadvantages? How about disadvantages? Rowena, can you think about any disadvantage of the curbside service? Any disadvantage? Sometimes this one is pretty, right? Sometimes you will see lots of garbage here, right? So it might also affect the street appearance. And you might attract some mice, right? Cockroach, some disease, some pest. Okay, and you'll generate some odor, smell very bad. Okay? Okay, second one. Okay, second one is called set out setback connections. Set out setback connections. Set out setback service. Okay. So you will not put the garbage container in the curb. You just put it in your home. Okay. So set up from the homeowner's property. Okay, homeowner's property. Okay, and setback after being empty. So I think the advantage and disadvantage for this one just opposite, right? So the advantage for the setup back service is the resident, that means you, okay? You do not need to place a container at the curb, right? But you need to wait there, okay? You need to schedule and wait there and waiting for the crew to set up and set back your garbage can. Okay? And the disadvantages is it might require more labor. Okay? And collection cost is higher. Okay? Disadvantage will be require more labor. Okay? In this case, the collection cost is higher. However, the advantage is this is more convenient. More convenient. For the resident. You are where at your home, right? Because you don't need to bring your garbage can, your container, your garbage to the curb. Okay, the Taiwan style is pretty much like this one, but we need to wait there. Okay, we need to wait there. There's a time schedules. Okay, there's time schedule that collection crew will come. For example, like 7 o'clock, come to this place. Okay, then you need to bring out your garbage. Wait there and at 7 o'clock and throw the garbage. So it's pretty like this. Pretty much, I think it's like in between the curbside and the setup and setback side for the Taiwan style. I'll mention this. Okay. And number 3 is the backyard pickup. Okay. So the collection crew transfer the solid waste to the wheel barriers, and you just put the container in your backyard. Okay, so my home in Canada, we just do this way. Okay, we put the container in backyard, so the collection group come and enter your backyard and clean up those solid waste. So this is the backyard. Okay, so the advantage is pretty much like the setup and setback connections. Okay, so this is convenient. You don't need to move. But the disadvantage is the set as a setup and setback. This is labor intensive, and the cost is high. And also the cost. Number 3 is those crew will enter your backyard. Okay, enter your private Okay, so for some rich people in Europe, for some rich people in Europe, in North America, they don't like people to enter their private property, so they don't like this. Okay, okay. For this backyard pickup, the collection crew will enter your private property, will enter your backyard. Okay? And this is, sorry, we change this to number 4. Number 4. This so-called Taipei model, okay? Taipei model. I don't know if there's any other country use the similar one, okay? So we call this keep charge of ground. Keep charge of ground. So it's pretty. So I say this the Taipei model is pretty much like the curbside service. Okay, it's a mix of curbside service and set up separate collections. Okay, so we wait there. Okay, there's a schedule. Okay, schedule will come to this place. Okay, come to this place and we wait there. Okay, the resident responsible to deliver their waste to collection crew at a distinct time. Okay, so we go this street. Okay, 7 o'clock here, 7:30 here, right? So if you miss this point, you need to go to the next spot, okay, and store your garbage. Okay, or you need to wait for the next day. Okay, this is Taipei model. Do you guys know any other country use the similar model? No, right? Okay. Let me ask. Okay, Roina, in Singapore, which model do you use normally? In Singapore, which model do you use? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 2 or 1? Number 1, right? Number 1. So in Singapore, normally they use number 1. Okay. Halina, you are from Indonesia, right? In Indonesia, which model do you normally use? Which one? 1, 2, or 3, or 4? Number 2? Number 1 as well, right? Which one? This one? This one? Okay. Big yard. Okay. Oh, yeah. Normally in Indonesia they have a house and they have a big yard. Okay. Tom? In Norway, which one?
Backyard.
Big yard, right? Yeah. In Canada, the same. In Canada, normally we use the backyard pickup. Okay, except you are very, very, very wealthy people. Okay, if you are super rich, okay, you will hire people to take care of your waste. Okay. Okay, this is Taipei model. Okay, Taipei model is between number 1 and number 2. It's something between number 1 and number 2. Okay? Okay. There's another one, it's called A-line. Okay. Normally this is for the restaurant. Okay. Restaurant. They have a container in the A-line. In the A-line. Or in the downtown of Canada or downtown of United States, they have this A-line. Okay, A-line collections. Okay, that means this is pretty much like curb, but they just put a container in the A-line. Understand? pretty much like her side. Okay? Okay, next, let's see the solid west positive. Okay. Solid west positive. Okay, next, the processing, sorting, okay, sorting. So, you need salt. For example, combustible, plastic. In Taiwan, we do it this way. We sell like, we sell different kinds, okay, even in the household. Okay, even in the household, but as I said, this require education. Okay, the teacher teach this from elementary school. Okay, they teach all the students in Taiwan. Okay, you need to solve your best, even in the household. Okay, even in the household. Okay, so first one is sorting. Number two is compaction. Compaction means you try to compress the waste to reduce volume. Okay, compress the waste to reduce the volume. Okay, so low pressure in the collection vehicle and high pressure transfer station and landfill. Shredding means shredding means that you cutting or tearing the solid waste. This is called shredding. Okay, shredding is cutting or tearing solid waste. So the purpose is we try to make the waste more uniform. Okay, so this can improve handling. Oh, I'm sorry. Not finished. Recycle 你那个我有空格。Okay. Okay, let's take a short break, but I want all of you to read over this. Okay, I'm gonna skip this slide. Okay, I want you to read over this during our short break. Okay, so let's have 5 minutes short break. Okay, because you want to have class dismissed at 4, right? So only 5 minutes short break. So now is 3:10. Let's have a short break until 3:15. Okay. 5 minutes short break.
那游泳要叫游泳吗？我不知道，我就给他打。至少我还会查吗？
你在那边给人家讲游泳运动，
不能讲运动。哎，你看他至少我还。
对啊，他的确是游泳运动的样子，
是这样子。
但是不是你现实中那怪怪的。
哇，哎，可是他这样搞。
可是我不会啊。